Welcome to Gambletown, the People's Republic of Gambletown, because
Democratic People's
the
Republic.
Democratic People's Republic of Gambletown. I apologize, Commissaire.
Yeah.
Um, because the Commissaire is rolling and he keeps rolling and he is not losing.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Brezhnev, chill out.
Uh, but our Commissaire was punished for his hubris, where last week he said he was gunning for Parlay King. But like when you come up against the king, you got to take him down. I was
Get the
2-0.
horns.
I was 2-0 in parlay, so we were 2-6 or 2-4 as a show. Show record 11-4. We should have been 12-3, but Laramie Tunsil is an asshole.
Ugh.
That's the lesson I take away from that. Fuck, there's nothing more crushing than watching that Nico Collins over where first play of the game, 75-yard touchdown, it hits, it's called back, and then I was just like, I'm not even paying attention because this isn't gonna hit now. Like, this is gonna
Yeah.
be one of those fucking days.
And all we needed was one rush on that last drive from Kansas City from Kareem Hunt, and we would have hit his over too, and I would have been 5 for 5. But no.
Yeah,
Yep. It was really funny that, like, right now, I am untouchable in millionaire bets.
yeah,
Ryan's top five bets of the week keep hitting, and Waleed's the parlay king. So
yeah,
if you've been paying attention, you should know that uh, we each got something to offer you.
yeah.
That's right.
And hey, we're like we've been doing all right. Like it's been a little inconsistent. Last week was not this past week, but the week before was very rocky, but it was bad for everyone. This week we came back strong, or last week we came back strong. This week we're coming back stronger. Tony, I'm gonna let you take over from here.
Let's do it. Let's come back. Let's come back better. So our first game is Kansas City going to Carolina. Kansas City heavy road favorites, minus 599 on the money line. A Carolina upset plus 524. Spreads 10.5. Total is 42.5. Ryan, start us off.
Um, I'm taking Kansas City to win. Otherwise, I have no idea what's going to happen and how they're going to get the points. So I don't have any bets from this game. I
Okay.
will say though that the Panthers sneakily have covered in back-to-back games after starting the season
Oh
one
yeah.
and seven against the spread.
I don't think this is
But
a double digit point differential game.
the points
Well,
are at 10.5 right now. But
Right.
yeah,
I could
well,
sneakily see them winning by Kansas City winning by a touchdown or
I don't think the
9
way
points.
either of these teams play is going to make it a double digit game. Like Kansas City is a ball control offense where they let their defense smother the
Yeah,
opposing offense.
number 1 in the
So,
league in time of possession.
yep.
Okay.
Um
Waleed, what do you got?
uh Having said that, my top 5 bet of the week, the first one is going to be Travis Kelsey over where is my oh, I'm under wrong tab. That's why I can't see it. Travis Kelsey over 58.5 receiving yards on BetMGM. Just so you know, Kansas or Carolina Panthers give up the most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. On top of that, uh, over the last 4 weeks, Carolina is giving up 11 yards per target on inline routes and just to the tight end position in general. So I feel like, I mean, Kelsey has been getting a lot of targets, especially since Rice was gone. So I think this is a game where Kelsey just goes the fuck off, and so I'm here for it.
Okay.
I will say
Um,
too, last week, we got what did we got? Kareem Hunt's line at 61.5.
Yeah,
It's way too high now. It's at 73.5. I
that's
think they're
that's because
I think
Carolina
they're
Panthers are bad.
you can get it at
right.
72 and a half on
And
Caesars.
they're anticipating a ball control game. So I could see it, but it's too rich for my blood after Hunt burning me last week. So
Agreed.
I won't I won't be betting that.
Okay. So Pacheco's not playing. Panthers are the worst run defense in football. Um, I don't have Hunt as a bet this week, but I love him in DFS. I think this is like a
Sure.
15 for 61 and two touchdowns written all over it. Um,
We
so
did we put him in our DFS lineup?
we sure did.
That's right.
And any of our, I think he's a DFS cornerstone. I
Yeah.
also think that
I like him for a
if you're doing
touchdown.
any, hang on, if you're doing any sort of like anytime touchdown parlay, that's definitely a leg that I want to be in on. But
Sure.
Yeah, 73 and a half, too rich for my blood. And you can get it at 72 and a half on Caesars, but it's minus 125 and it's not worth it.
Okay.
I believe. I don't know. Maybe you're feeling frisky. And if you are, God be with you. Next one, we got Minnesota going to Chicago. Minnesota are road favorites. They're plus 166 on the money line. A Bears home victories plus 162. Spreads 3.5. Total is 39.5. Wally, start us off.
So this is an interesting game. There was a few things that I was really interested in this week. First off, let me see. I'm not. I couldn't get any of my top five bets of the week, but some things that did stand out to me that I am still debating on whether I'm going to make bets on. Aaron Jones rushing over. What is his line at? I didn't actually write it down, but let's see it real quick. Bears run defense over the last 4 weeks. I mean, they're giving up over 5 yards per rushing attempt. Um, so Aaron Jones, his line's at 60 and a half. It might be a little bit too high for me, but
I don't want
it's
it.
yeah, I don't think I can bet it at that line. I think Justin Jefferson, an interesting thing over the last 4 weeks, Bears are giving up a lot of yards to wide receivers. Justin Jefferson's been down the last couple of weeks, and I think at 81 and a half, like over the last 4 weeks, to wide receivers, Bears are giving up 11.6 yards per target. To wide receivers lined out wide, 10.7. I think Justin Jefferson is a nice play this week. Another thing too is TJ Hawkinson over 37 and a half receiving yards on inline routes. The Bears over the last 4 weeks are giving up 13 and a half yards per target. So that's basically just kind of three catches, which I think is well within Hawk's range. I
Okay.
think the Hawk bet might be the best bet of this game.
Okay. Ryan?
Um, I do know Tony's got something to say about Chicago wide receiver. Um, I kind of like that too, but it didn't make my top five bet this week. I really don't have any bets from this game because I think that sneakily this Bears money line might be interesting, but I don't have the balls to bet it
Not
as a
I
hardcore Bears fan.
if as a
Um,
Bears fan, I look at that money line and I'm like, that is a sneaky good play. But if I bet that, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, Matt Eberflus. I should have known better.
right,
I'll just hate
right.
myself later. So I'd rather just not bet it.
And some evidence to steer me away from that. The Vikings have won and covered in four straight games in Chicago. Um,
Oh.
yeah. Also, I might do like a under over bet with this game. I would be taking the under. Past five meetings between these two teams have all been under the points
Ooh,
total.
that's an
Yeah,
interesting play.
yeah. So I might do like the under on this game and maybe um put in like a couple overs on some other games I'm confident in.
Yeah, no, the
But
line absolutely reflects it at 39 and a half. That
yeah.
this is a game that's not going to score a lot.
But other than that, I don't have any specific player lines or anything like that from this game.
Okay. I have a top five bet of the week in this game, and it is a very small cat. It is Romo Dunze, his receiving over at 41 and a half yards. So, look, I'm a huge Romo Dunze guy, right? He's my number one receiver in this class, as you all remember.
Yes,
And um,
you were very vocal about it.
last week, his 32% target share against Green Bay was not only the highest in his career, but the most any Bears receiver has had in a single game this season.
Oh,
Oh, I love
I
it.
think we're starting to see Rome taking his spot as the top guy in this passing attack. Um, so
Well, one thing I thought was kind of nice too is he was actually lined up at the X, and DJ Moore was lined up, in the Z, like the way they're supposed to be.
yes, so on that, um, so the Vikings have allowed the fourth most receiving yards to outside receivers at an average of a 119.2 yards per game.
Yep.
Um, the Vikings blitz at the league's second highest rate. They blitz on 38% of opponent dropbacks. And when Caleb Williams is blitzed, Rome leads the team with a 23% target share and gets a 38.6% boost to his yards per route run on those targets.
I want to throw something out.
interesting.
Over the last 4 weeks, Minnesota is giving up 10.9 yards per target to wide receivers lined out wide.
That's what I'm saying. He had 10 targets
Yeah.
last week. If
Yep.
Caleb's going to get blitzed, they're going to throw short passes, and Romo Dunze is Caleb's guy. So
And that's another reason why I kind of am quietly intrigued by the Bears line is because Caleb this year has actually been pretty good against the blitz. Like,
sure. I do have a couple more things to get through for this game.
okay.
Um, I don't. There's no yardage lines for it yet, but I really think that we should be eyeing a Cam Akers over. Um,
Oh, you know what? I think you're right, just because of last week.
so last week, Aaron Jones had a 53% snap share.
Yeah.
Um, so he, so he was not 100%. He's got lingering injuries. Cam Akers ended up playing 37% of offensive snaps. Ty Chandler played one single snap. So I think that this is a chance to get Cam Akers. If you can get it at like 24, 25 yards, I'd do it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you what do you think the line's gonna be at? If it's more than 30, no.
If it's more than 30, I'm good just because if we all think this game is going to be close and Vegas giving it a 3.5 point spread also says they think it's going to be close,
Yeah.
it's not going to be the blowout that gives Cam Akers like 11 carries,
Yeah.
Okay.
but he could still get eight. I just feel better about him getting 25 yards on eight carries than 32, you know?
Sure, yeah, yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so let's move on. Let's go on to our next game. We have Dallas going to Washington. Washington heavy home favorites, minus 535. Dallas plus 84.85 for an upset. Spread is 10.5. Total is 45.5. Ryan, Cowboys, Commanders.
It's not one of my top five bets this week, but I do have high hopes for Brian Robinson. So if you guys, I feel confident in his rushing line, even though it seems high for Brian Robinson at 71.5. I mean, the game script's going to be most likely Washington ahead, so they're going to have to run a lot. So if you guys want to go in and bet Brian Robinson's line or Brian Robinson touchdown, I have a lot of exposure to him in redraft too. So yeah, I like Brian Robinson this week, but none of my top five bets are from this game.
Okay. Waleed?
Um, this game has one of my top five bets of the week. There are two bets I really like in this game. Jaden Daniels over 217.5 passing yards against the Cowboys. Cowboys give up like they're giving up 8.32 yards per passing attempt, and they're one of the worst teams at defending the quarterback from a yardage standpoint. But Zach Ertz is what ended up being my top five bet of the week at was it 37.5? Oh, 29.5, even better. Over 29.5. Dallas has been terrible against tight ends. Over
Mm-hmm.
the last 4 weeks, they're giving up 10 yards per target. Also to wide receiver to the slot, they're giving up almost 12 yards per target. So it's just a couple of Zach Ertz catches I think will hit this line. I think it's a really strong play this week.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, guys, like Waleed said, the Cowboys have been horrible. They're 0-5 against the spread in their past 5 games, and this line's at 10.5. I could see it. I could see a huge blowout. Another reason, like I said, to do something with Brian Robinson is look at what Joe Mixon did against Dallas last week. Um, awesome. 3 touchdowns, over 100 yards.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry, Tony. Go ahead.
Oh no, you're good. I don't really have anything per se in this game, but similarly to Kareem Hunt, most of my anytime touchdown parlay builds are gonna have Brian Robinson in them.
Okay.
So weirdly, I keep feeling like there was this podcast that was all over B Rob this summer. Can't remember who it is though. Must be irrelevant. Anyways, let's move on. We've got New England going to Miami. Miami home favorites minus 361 on the money line. A New England upsets plus 320. Spread 7.5. Total is 46.5. Waleed, start us off.
Um, let's see here. I don't want to do anything with this game. Is what I think I'm at.
Okay.
I think
Ryan?
Hunter Henry and
Okay.
Jonnu Smith are interesting, but I'm not betting it.
Okay. Ryan?
I have got some stuff from this game. Uh, so one of my top five bets this week, who is also my mid-tier kind of shitty tight end of the week for TH
Mhm.
Fantasy, Hunter Henry's reception over, or not receptions, yardage receptions over 43 and a half yards. Hunter Henry had caught 6 of 9 targets last week for something like 65 yards or 63 yards, something like that. Um, I think he's in line in this close. This game should be pretty close, and with the points total at 45 and a half, so there's going to be a chance to get some scoring. And historically, Miami and New England games are pretty good. Miami's starting to click again with Tua kind of coming out of his concussion phase. Um, so one of my top bets, 5 bets was Hunter Henry's over 43 and a half. I also did a same game parlay from this game, which could be good for game script. I took Drake May's over 26 and a half rushing,
Let's go.
Hunter Henry's over 43 and a half, an Achan touchdown, and Jonnu Smith's over at 41 and a half. Tight end special. Um, that rolls you out to plus 885, but I got a 25% boost. It was like a college slash NFL boost, and it was a multi-tiered boost. So the more legs you have, the more it'll boost. I only did 4, so I was able to boost it 25%.
Ooh, I
Got
love
me
it.
to got me to plus 1107, so I put 5 units down on that to win a little over 60.
Was that on DK?
That was on FanDuel.
I don't have any boosts on FanDuel right now.
It was. I'm trying.
Well,
I don't know
anyways,
why you guys don't have it because I had it last week too. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, this game should be close. The Patriots have won this game outright in their past 2 appearances as at least 6 point underdogs, weeks 8 and 10. Um, I guess yeah, that was the Jets and the Bears. So not too much to say there.
Oh,
But
I lied. I do have this one.
yeah, I was gonna
Okay.
say you should have it. It allows you to do like college money line parlays. Like sometimes I'll do like a 10 leg money line parlay and I'll boost it like 85% or whatever. But
Okay.
I used it this week on my same game parlay. But yeah, Hunter Henry, HN touchdown, Johnny Smith, and Drake May's over 26 and a half rushing. This game should be close and actually might be pretty fun to watch.
okay, Waleed.
Who you got, Tony?
Oh, you know,
Um,
Waleed already went. All right,
yeah.
so I have a sad note for all of us out there. The
Oh no.
underpriced Devon Achan era has officially ended. Like his DFS, he was like running back like 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's we're great. He's graduated back up to being like the right, like the third most expensive running back on the slate. Um, I think he's still a great play in this game, but it's less of a savings to plop him in. Also, this is actually like the best schematic matchup Tyreek Hill has had this season. Patriots play a ton of man, Patriots play a ton of single high, and Tyreek is better against man and single high than he is zone and cover two. So Christian Gonzalez just came up on the injury report this week. Tyreek is someone that I'm looking at as like why wasn't it obvious that he was going to crush this week type of play.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm looking in this game. It's
Well,
all DFS.
you did have that. You did have that one. You talked about that where you had like a super flex that was on both of those guys, right? With
There was one of my super flex caches that I did. I think it was either last week or the week before.
yeah,
Was Tua Hill, Achan, and Jonnu Smith like in a
yeah,
super stack.
yeah,
And I mean, they were all underpriced, but that era is dead.
yeah.
So, all right, let's move on. Let's go Tennessee and Houston. Tennessee is on the road. They are plus 330 on the money line. A Houston home wins minus 380. Spread is 7.5. Total is 40.5. Ryan, start us off.
Guys, I have nothing in this game. I got some exposure to Stroud and Nico in redraft and stuff. But I know you guys got a lot to talk about from this game, so I'm not betting anything from this game.
All right, Waleed.
Well, I got one guy, but we have the same top 5 bet, and I'll be perfectly honest. I'm just doing it off of your data Like I'm
And
big I'm a big fan of your Matrix, so I'm gonna let you tell us why Nico Collins is the best play you could possibly have. I will say one thing before we get there though.
of course.
I think Joe Mixon rushing line is at 85.5 on Bet Rivers, 86.5 on DK and BetMGM, and it is worth noting that in four, five, six, pretty 6 of 7 games that he's finished, he's had over 100 yards rushing. Like until Joe Mixon stops hitting rushing overs, just keep betting Joe Mixon rushing overs.
Yeah.
They're gonna get a lead, and they're gonna keep feeding Joe Mixon this game.
Yeah. Absolutely. I
Yeah,
mean, it's a tough. Titans are good against the run, so that's probably why it's not 92.
yeah, but like when he gets 30 carries, it won't matter. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. Okay. So the matrix that Wally's talking about is a system that I've been working through, and had Nico Collins had either of his reversed catches gone the way that they had originally planned, every single one of the guys that I gave a 5 or above would have hit last week. Um, he has, according to Fantasy Points data, the best defense adjusted expected fantasy points per route run matchup this week. Prior to last week's ref screw job, he had a 5 game run with 78 or more receiving yards, like for every game that he played this year. The Titans use cover 3 and cover 4 57% of the time. He averages 4.1 yards per route run against those coverages.
Is that
So
good?
I think so. I'm just hearing this. Yeah, that's good.
That's good.
So I have him at 75.5 on FanDuel. Waleed has him at 76.5 on BetMGM. Waleed, you could talk about your millionaire bet for 1 second, but before you do,
Yeah,
I just want to say Nico Collins he did not run half the team's routes last week.
I know.
Like they worked him back in, and he still was 2 calls away from going for 150 yards and a touchdown.
Yep.
So I'm assuming if he's back to full, or even if he's up to 75% route participation this week, it's going to be a Nico annihilation. Do you want to
Yeah.
talk a little bit about your Millie bet, Waleed?
I mean, that's pretty much why. Like Nico is my number 2 receiver of the week on my own metrics, and the fact that he's on your system. The only reason, like the thing is, you picked my number 1 receiver for your Millie bet, so that's why I just decided to go Nico to be a little
Sure,
contrarian, to give
sure.
myself a chance.
Respect.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean,
all right. So let's head to what I think most people are already proclaiming the game of the week. It has the highest total. So we've got Detroit going to Indy. Detroit are road favorites, minus 361 money line. Colts upset plus 320. Spread is 7. Total is 50.5. Waleed, let's go.
one of my top 5 bets of the week is with the Sun God.
Okay.
Let me look up real quick. Sorry, I got to scroll down here. Um, Indy is giving up over the last 4 weeks over 10 yards per target to wide receivers lined out wide, which is not necessarily where Sun God is like there, but frankly, once I saw him on your metric, I like the receiving like matchup for this team, and frankly, I think Detroit's going to put up 50 points, so I don't really care. Like, and Sun God has been getting his touchdowns, he's been getting his targets. I'm gonna take the volume play. I think this is a pretty safe bet. 74.5 is a nice line. I also think it's worth noting that I think David Montgomery is going to be a very solid play this week because
He
they
should
will
be a
get a lead.
touchdown.
Yeah,
He should be a touchdown play for sure.
he's absolutely a touchdown play, and 56.5. I just feel like I'm just going to keep when as long as his rushing lines are all in the 50s, I'm going to keep betting those overs because
Yeah.
I'm going to come out ahead like long term as the season goes on.
Okay. Um. Okay. Ryan.
The only thing I have from this game is a Detroit win as part of my moneyline parlay this week. And yeah, like I said, I think this is a lock for a Gibbs or Montgomery touchdown easily. Um, but yeah, I'm not going to be betting any uh, single player lines.
I
I'm
mean,
just
Okay.
gonna be watching the future Super Bowl champs win another game.
Sun
Damn.
God
You
touchdowns
really
also
think you?
probably.
Yeah, you really think the Colts are that good, huh? Okay.
So
Um.
a Sun God touchdown play might be the play because what's his active streak at now?
It's at
Like
8, I believe. 8.
8? Yeah, yeah. David Montgomery.
James Conner's got the chance for probably 100-yard game, but Montgomery's got more chance for touchdowns, so I'd probably
Yeah,
go Montgomery.
Connor
Yeah.
ceiling, Monty floor.
Yep.
All right, so none of my top 5 bets of the week are in this game. However, I'm going to just give you a little preview right now. Anthony Richardson is the quarterback you should be basing your builds in DFS this week. I have some fun stuff. I talked about this on the podcast last night. So, Wally, let me enlighten you in case you
Okay.
didn't get to it. Not only do the Lions allow the sixth most passing yards per game to quarterbacks this year at 249.6, but since 2022, when hypermobile quarterbacks play the Lions, so that's Kyler Murray, Justin Fields, Lamar, Josh Allen, and Jalen Hurts,
Hmm.
those quarterbacks average 11.8 carries per game and 86.3 rushing yards per game.
Yep.
Aaron Glenn will let quarterbacks run all over him.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Richardson's rushing line, I think, is what, 39, 40,
yeah,
something like
that's
that.
something that I was thinking about taking. But I just honestly, I don't have a lot of bets in this game. I'm gonna have a ton of DFS in this game. I like Laporta. I like JMO. I like
Yeah.
Amon Ra. I like Gibbs, Monty.
He's
I
at
like
he's
Josh
at 39
Downs.
and a half.
I like Josh Downs too. Um, but like this is a game that I just want DFS exposure in, so I'm not sweating anything, and I can just kick back and watch good
Right.
football.
I had an interesting fact too last night on the podcast about the Lions. Do you guys know that the Lions have 4 games this season with more touchdowns than incompletions?
Okay.
That's the most since 1933.
It's so good.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on. Our last game of the main window. We have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Only 7 early games this week. You got Tampa Bay going to New York. Tampa Bay road favorites minus 258 on the money line. Giants plus 240. Spread is 6. Totals 41.5. Ryan, start us off.
Guys, one of my top 5 bets of the week is from this game. And you guys will be shocked. It is not from Tampa Bay. It is from the New York Giants.
I love it.
All right. I'm going with Mr. Tyrone Tracy for over 61.5 rushing yards. The Giants are in shambles and they're just going to run the whole time. Granted, they're going to be down, but they're starting Tommy DeVito. So, check downs, 61.5 rushing yards, I think is easy. Um, he might
60 and a
even
half
get,
on DK.
Yeah,
okay. He
that's where
might
I
even
got it.
get that before the end of the third quarter.
Right.
Um, so I'm rolling with uh something that seems automatic. They're just gonna have to run because what else are they gonna do? I don't trust the relationship with Tommy DeVito and Malik Neighbors because the chances of them getting reps throughout the season are pretty low, I think. Um, but you never know. Malik Neighbors is Malik Neighbors. He is him. So,
It's true.
Yep.
but
Okay.
I think that the Tyrone Tracy is the easiest line to bet with this one. Also, the Tampa Bay Bucks um, give up the 10th most points per game to running backs. And Tyrone Tracy has been on fire the last 6 weeks. So
He's a really
let's get
fun
it.
back.
Yeah.
Okay. I also have that. It's not on my show ticket, but like I have that as a straight already. Tyrone Tracy at 60.5. Wally, what do you got?
Um, there's one bet that kind of stands out to me in this game, but I won't make it because I don't know that I trust Tommy DeVito. But Theo Johnson at 19 and a half is real interesting just because Theo Johnson's usage has been going up the last few weeks, and Tampa Bay is really bad at defending tight ends. So I feel like that's something that's in there. I think Theo Johnson could be a sneaky cheap DFS play this week. That's about where I'm at. Other than that, I don't know. I kind of like Baker in DFS too, but I'm not really into this game as much.
Okay. So I am, and
Okay.
I'm big on Mike Evans this week. Mike Evans, I have him at 54.5 receiving yards on BetMGM as one of my top 5 bets of the week. He was one of my fives this week, and he's got, let's see, his first read share is going to shoot up. His target share is going to shoot up. His matchup is beneficial. Um, we haven't seen Mike Evans without Chris Godwin yet,
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that's
true.
true.
and um, he could see coverage from Deontay Banks, who sucks ass, and the Giants, like, they don't allow a lot of yards per game on the outside, or sorry, a lot of like, yeah, I guess it's yards. I'm trying to figure out the best way to say what I got to say here. But they allow the third most yards per route run to outside receivers. So this is a Mike Evans smash spot. So I have him at 54.5. I'm going to take him at 53.5 as part of my same game parlay. So I've got Evans. I took Bucky Irving over 55.5 rushing yards. And the Tampa Bay money line got me plus 295. Hung 10 on it. It'd bring me back about 40. Um, the Giants, man, fourth most rushing yards per game allowed to running backs. I think that I was talking about this on the podcast last night. I'm thinking about parlays, same game parlays that should get there no matter game script.
Okay.
And I think that if Tampa Bay's ahead, they're still going to push the gas because they need to win out to still have a chance to make the playoffs.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I love Tyrone Tracy schematically this week, but I worry that if the Bucks have one of those games where they score on the first 4 drives, it might not. Who knows? So I do think Tampa Bay wins, as you can tell, because the money line's part of my parlay. But this was my game that I'm looking forward to the most this week. Weirdly.
Nice.
All right, so let's go to the afternoon games. Denver going to Vegas. Denver's minus 253 as road favorites. A Vegas home win would be plus 225. Spread is 6. Total is 41. Waleed?
I want nothing to do with this game.
Okay,
This game, like, I do like the under in this game, but I don't know. Like, Denver's been scoring lately too, so
okay.
maybe not. I don't know. This game sucks.
It does.
Um,
Ryan?
even though this was my Air Dangus game of the week, it has also got one of my top 5 bets of the week. Um, and it's also I'm taking Denver to win in my money line parlay. But one of my top 5 bets of the week is Denver. It says it was 6, but it's now 5.5 on FanDuel. So Denver minus 5.5. Denver is 4-0 against the spread as favorites this year, and they've covered in 5 straight. So and Las Vegas is in shambles right now. I
Yeah,
don't care that they're playing in Vegas. Bo Nix is, like I was saying yesterday on the podcast. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Bo Nix looks great in this offense.
dude, I hate it.
I know.
I can't wait for it to fall apart at some point, though.
It
I
will.
don't think it's going to happen against Vegas, but
No.
yeah. So I'm taking Denver minus 5.5 on just because of the fact that when they are favorites, they're 4-0 against the spread this year, and they've got a 5 game streak going. So
Okay, cool.
it's the only thing
Uh,
I got from this game.
okay. I like doing Bo Nix DFS stacks with Devon Vele, actually.
Really?
Yeah, because
I
they're
mean,
cheap.
he's hyper cheap. He's been running routes at like one of the highest rates on the team. He's had double digits PPR points in the last 2 games. You
Yeah,
can pay down there. You can pay up at running back. You could get your Nico Collinses in your lineup. Um, if I will say this, and then we'll move on because Brock Bowers is going to crush.
yes, he is.
But if Denver had a clearly defined starting running back, they would be a smash this week.
I 100% agree with that. That's the only reason I don't have a running back over in this game is because I don't know who they're going to go with, and I don't
Right.
really want to play that game.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, for a game that looked to be really good early in the week to a game I don't give a shit about now, San Francisco going to Green Bay. Green Bay minus 141 on the money line, 49ers plus 213. Spread is oscillating rapidly depending on how quickly these places have updated their lines,
Yeah,
and the total
right.
is also all over the place.
What
So,
happened that's changing all of this?
Brock Purdy's out.
Is he out?
Yep,
and and Bosa.
and Bosa. But
I don't
I'm
know that I would have
assuming
traded. Oh, sorry, I'm thinking of like my dynasty team now.
I'm saying that like I think there's a chance Bosa comes back because who knows how long the interview process to be part of Trump's cabinet team really goes for.
Right.
Yeah,
So he could be back. Who knows?
Has to be the football czar.
So
Right.
Ryan, what do you got?
Guys, I was stewing this all yesterday because they announced yesterday afternoon that Purdy and Bosa weren't playing. And I started looking at stuff. And you know what? I still think San Francisco is going to win. So part of my money line parlay, even, this game's going to be played in Green Bay. It's going to be cold. Um, the Packers are due to fall back to earth, I think, a little bit. And guys, the Packers are 0-4 against the spread in their past 4 games. Um, I think San Francisco, since Purdy is out, just goes back to the basics, and basic football wins in this game.
Okay.
Christian McCaffrey, I might go in and put a 3 touchdown bet on. Um, it
he's
might
due
be
for some
pretty.
touchdowns.
Yeah, it's. I think this is going to be a Christian McCaffrey game. He's going to get a lot of receiving yards too because it's a new quarterback and just going to check down. So I love Christian McCaffrey in this game now that those 2 guys are out. Um, but yeah, I think this is a sneaky San Francisco win. It'll be a fun game to watch, I think. I don't think it's going to be as bad as everyone thinks with the quarterback out.
Okay. Waleed.
I want nothing to do with this game, honestly. I do like the idea. I was thinking of doing a 2 touchdown Christian McCaffrey bet because I feel like that should be. What are the odds on a 2 touchdown bet? I'm kind
I'm
of
looking it
curious
up
now.
right now. Let's see.
Two TDs,
Four
you getting
six
plus.
four
Yeah,
sixty.
yeah. I'll take 460. I think that's a decent price, especially with the running quarterback. And I think there'll be some with the backup quarterback. I think there'll be some dump off passes where he can run and get
Yeah.
it that way.
3 touchdowns is 2,400. You'll never see a 3 touchdown bet from Christian McCaffrey that high. Once he comes back to form. I remember last
All right,
year
I'm
it was
sold.
like 600 for plus
Yeah,
for 3 touchdowns. 2,400 now.
buy the
Put
dip.
put $1 on that.
All right. Oh yeah. I mean, yeah,
Wait,
minimum.
so
There you
the Jets Wisconsin running back that's to San Francisco to play starting quarterback.
go. Braylon
That's
Allen.
fine.
All right.
I think it's Brandon Allen, right?
Yeah. Let's get the hell
Yeah.
out of this
All
game.
all those B Allens look the same.
We've got Arizona going to Seattle. Toss up here. Both teams have minus odds. Spreads 1. Total is 47.5. Waleed, start us off.
I really don't have anything in this game. Like there's a part of me that wants to bet like Geno Smith overs, but I will never. I can't bet passing overs on the Seahawks because I hate them
Okay.
for
Ryan.
betting.
One of my top 5 bets of the week is DK's this week. I know Tony will explain that because it's one of his guys this week. So, but I'll just let you know that that's one of my bets because of our discussions last night on the podcast. Um, Also, I have Arizona winning this game, and part of my money line parlay this week. But one of my top 5, another one of my top 5 bets of this week, and my millionaire bet this week, is a Marvin Harrison touchdown.
Yes.
Um, Marvin Harrison right now, guys, in the red zone has a 40% target share. That's ridiculous.
That's awesome.
Um, Also, the Seahawks give up the ninth most touchdowns to the wide receiver position. Um, so I love Harrison. I don't necessarily like his yardage, but I like him for a touchdown this week. And that's my millionaire bet and one of my top 5 bets of the week.
Okay.
Tony, what do you got about DK?
So DK is DK got a 7 this week in my
That's
matrix.
right.
Um, against cover 2, he is second in separation score, second in yards per route run, 15th in targets per route run. Uh, defense is playing cover 2 at about 14%. Defense allows the 8th most fantasy points per dropback in cover 2. Geno is 5th in fantasy points per dropback against cover 2. and the defense is bottom 10 in EPA allowed. That's kind of how the matrix breaks down. DK hit almost everything. The only thing that he didn't hit and make himself an 8 was that his route win rate is 24th out of 119, and it wasn't top 12.
Okay. That's still not bad.
Yeah, and if that's our one little hiccup, whatever. Um, I'm looking to run back DK with James Conner and Marvin Harrison. I
Okay.
like this game a lot. Um, he's been running crossing routes like crazy, and they've been calling more crossing routes, and he's killing it on there.
Yeah,
He's
yes.
they're been playing a lot more man, and DK crushes man, or sorry, Harrison crushes man. So this is going to be a big DK Metcalf week. Most
Yeah.
importantly,
Hopefully they stop just using him on go routes.
they have. I mean, they've done
Good.
better. They've done better at varying up his route tree, and I think this is a game. Honestly, I think this is a game where he takes a pass and just breaks a tackle and goes 60 yards. So
That'll be awesome. I'm rooting for it.
let's move on. Let's go to he's a 7. Lock it in. Let's go to our Sunday night game. I've been waiting all day for it. We've got the Eagles going to LA to play the Rams. Eagles are road favorites minus 146. Rams home win plus 136. 2.5 spread. Total is 48.5. Ryan, start us off.
This game's going to be, I think, a really good Sunday night game. Um, I won't talk about AJ because I know Tony's got a bunch of stuff to say about him, uh, and but I will say that I do like the touchdown props for Saquon and Jalen Hurts. Uh, there's been, what is it? Let's see. Well, number one, Saquon, we haven't even played week 12 yet, and Saquon's at 1,350 yards.
Yep.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. So if you want to bet his yards, go ahead. I'm gonna make some. I haven't done anything with this game yet since I usually wait until the afternoon games are over to start messing with the Sunday and Monday night games.
Yeah.
But I do like Saquon's line. Um, the Eagles right now have had 150 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns in 5 straight games. That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
That
is.
is insane. That's the longest streak since the 1988 Bengals. And if they do it again, they'll set the record, I'm pretty sure. I don't know if anyone's ever gone 6 games with over 150 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. So I do like a Saquon touchdown. I do like a Jalen Hurts touchdown. I like a lot of these touchdowns. I like a AJ Brown touchdown. I like a Kyron touchdown. I might put all 4 of those together. I don't know if the Rams can put up enough points to stop the Eagles the way they're playing right now. Plus, the Eagles' defense has kind of started to get better after they started the year pretty shitty.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, I don't have any top 5 bets from this game, but it's going to be fun to bet. That's for sure. A lot of points.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, Waleed?
I only got one thing in this game. This is my favorite of my top 5 bets of the week. Also got my same game parlay attached to this. That is AJ Brown over 90.5 receiving yards on BetMGM. Um,
Nice.
on my matrix, this is one of the best plays of the week, and the fact that it also showed up on Tony's model just makes me love it more. Over the
Well,
last 4 weeks, the wide receivers lined out wide. Um, yards per target is almost 12 yards, 11.8 yards per target. Like, I think AJ Brown is going to absolutely crush. The Rams can get beat by wide receivers, and especially good wide receivers.
and Wally, they also announced yesterday that Smith is not playing.
Yep.
So what you're saying is I should have boosted the yardage a little bit more on my parlay. Unfortunately, I already made the bet, so never mind. I already had it at 120 yards. My same game parlay is 120 yards receiving, 6.5 receptions, and an AJ Brown touchdown at plus 435. I used the bonus bet, so I'm only going to make $43.50. But you know what? I'll be happy if I make it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Um, so DK Metcalf and AJ Brown are my guys with 7 scores this week.
Yep.
Um, And the Rams are the worst team in football when it comes to targets on the boundary. They're
Mhm.
last in yards per attempt. They're last in air net yards per attempt. AJ Brown runs 80% of his routes from out wide and has the single highest yards per route run when lined up out wide at 3.99. Think about that. 4 yards every route that he runs from out wide. I know
That's
that the Eagles
nuts.
have been really slowing it down and they haven't been passing a bunch. I'm hoping that the Rams can turn on the gas and score a couple times and make this a competitive game. I think like we watched game script work against him last week
Mhm.
against the Commanders, but I think this week's going to be a higher scoring game. I think he's going to be one of the boom plays of the week. And when I did the Matrix, I did it on Tuesday, so
Mhm.
lines weren't posted, and I was
Yep.
like, AJ Brown's got a 7. I need to get action on AJ Brown as soon as possible. So
Yep.
I got him as my millionaire bet at 75 plus because that was the earliest line that I could find.
Yeah.
So my odds aren't great, but I got it on BetMGM and it was minus 140. So I put my 38.54 in there and it bring me back $66.
I
So I'll
still
take it.
really like that bet. Like
Yeah. I got
you're
it in
losing a
early.
little bit, but the amount that you're putting in makes up for what you're losing on the odds.
I agree. All right.
I want
So
to point
go
out
ahead.
one thing too. Last week, the guy that like Tony had like what'd you have on Sun God last week on your model? Wasn't he a
Sun God
7?
was this. Amon Ra last week was a 7. So
Yeah, he
I
was a
had
7. He was
Pickens,
also
Collins, and Amon Ra.
I want to point out he was the also the best guy on my usage model last week. And Sun God had by far the best game of the three. So I really think AJ Brown this week is going to be a monster. I might throw in a random 2 touchdown bet for him just because like why the fuck not? Like
Yeah,
I think
that's a great idea.
I think AJ Brown. If I do a single game for that game, I'm going to have AJ Brown as my like
Your MVP,
what
your
is it
captain.
called? My MVP, my captain. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's move on. Let's go to Monday night. We have game that I think is going to kick ass. We got Baltimore going to LA, play the Chargers. Ravens favorite. They are minus 140 on the money line. Chargers home wins plus 130. Spread is 3. Total is robust, 50.5 at FanDuel. Waleed.
Honestly, I'm kind of excited that I don't like any bets in this game because I just want to watch this game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ryan.
I haven't I don't have any bets from this game as of yet. I'll formulate some Sunday night. Uh, but I think a sneaky Chargers win might be in play here. Baltimore's given up like the third most points to quarterbacks, fantasy points right now. Um, I know that they can score a lot, but the Chargers have surprisingly come out of nowhere this season after us thinking that they were going to be a bottom 10 team. Um, and they're surprisingly what 7-2, 7-3.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so this game could be very exciting to watch. I agree with Waleed. Um, don't have too much to say about it right now because the lines just came out this morning. They weren't even there last night. So
Okay. Uh, One of my top 5 bets of the week is in this game. And so when I break down the formulas, I have fives which they hit at about a 50% rate so far.
Yeah.
Um, but the sixes are 5-0 over 3 weeks. And I have 1 6 this week, and it's Lad McConkey.
nice.
So Lad McConkey at 67.5 on FanDuel. I think it's FanDuel. That is one of my no, it's on DraftKings. It was one of my top 5 bets of the week. Um, he crushes man coverage, crushes. And you want to hear some crazy shit? This game features number 1 and number 2 in terms of receivers that force the most missed tackles per reception. Zay Flowers is 1, Lad McConkey is 2.
Interesting.
Really?
So I think this is like I'm trusting the system. I'm just hopping in and doing my best here and going with what the data tells me. McConkey was a 5 in my first week, and he hit his over then against Cleveland, I believe. So I'm following the math, and that's where I'm at. So I have Lad McConkey as one of my top 5 bets. So those are our games. Let's run back through our stuff. Um, Waleed, you were 5-0 last week, so why don't you start with your top five bets of the week?
All right. Top five bets of the week. Number one, AJ Brown over 90.5 receiving yards. Number two, Nico Collins over 76.5 receiving yards. Number three, Travis Kelsey over 58.5 receiving yards. Number four, Zach Ertz over 29.5 receiving yards. And number five, Sun God over 74.5 receiving yards.
Gorgeous. Ryan, you were second last week. Tell us your top five.
Top five this week, guys. Hunter Henry's over 43 and a half receiving yards. DK's over 64 and a half receiving yards. Tyrone Tracy over 61 and a half rushing yards. A Marvin Harrison touchdown. And Denver minus 5.5.
Okay. My top five, Romo Dunze over 41.5 receiving. Mike Evans over 54.5 receiving. Nico Collins over 75.5 receiving. DK Metcalf over 64.5 receiving. And Lad McConkey over 67.5 receiving yards. Parlay King Waleed, go ahead.
All right, my first parlay of the week. I'm going AJ Brown over 120 receiving yards, over 6.5 receptions and a touchdown at plus 435 on a $10 bonus bet. I will make $43.50.
Nice.
My other parlay, which truth be told, I almost want to take AJ Brown off of this, but I like him so much that I will have two parlays with him in my top five. But this bet I'm dedicating to Mr. Tony Martin because I pretty much took his 2 sevens on his wide receiver model, and I took his Nico Collins who had 2 5s because I think those are three of the best receiver plays of the week. And the model's
Fair.
been hitting. I almost made a $200 bet trying to do a parlay on his thing last week. If Laramie Tunsil could just fucking stay where he was supposed to. But you know
That's
what?
what, keep going.
Hmm?
Sorry.
Oh,
Go ahead.
so I got those three guys: Nico over 76.5, DK over 65.5, and AJ Brown over 90.5. A $10 bonus bet will pay 553. So I'll get $55.35.
Hell yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Ryan, your parlays.
All right, guys. I'm going a little bit ballsy on my money line parlay this week because I do have an underdog in there. So I'm going Detroit, Denver, Arizona, and Frisco. Frisco being the underdog at plus 198. And I guess you
Ooh.
could maybe even say Arizona is the underdog because both teams are at minus 108. So Denver, Detroit, Arizona, Frisco. That gives me plus 906 odds. So I'm going to lay 5 units down on that to win a little over 50. And then my same game parlay was from the New England Miami game. So I'm doing Hunter Henry's over 43 and a half, Jonnu Smith over 41 and a half, tight end special, Achan touchdown, and Drake Mays over 26 and a half rush yards. That'll get you 885, but I had a 25% progressive parlay boost. So it got me to 1107. I put $5 down to win a little over 60.
Okay. My same game, Mike Evans over 53.5 receiving. My Bucky Irving over 55.5 rushing, and Tampa Bay's money line plus 295. Put 10 down. Bring me back about 39.50. Money line parlay, nothing too crazy. Lions, Chiefs, Eagles. Got it at plus 135. $10 would bring me back 23.50. As your lord and commissar of Gambletown, I will repeat my bet was at minus 140 on BetMGM for AJ Brown to have 75 or more receiving yards. My 38.54 invested would be 66.07. Waleed, go ahead and tell us your millionaire bet.
I got Nico over 100 yards receiving at plus 215. $10 bet will pay out $31.50.
Ryan?
Guys, with the 40% target share in the red zone, I'm going with the Marvin Harrison touchdown at plus 165 to get me back on the board. Please let me get back on the board. I'm
Yeah.
not doing good with the millionaire bet this week or this year. $10 to win 2650.
Okay. So let's get into our DFS builds. I, as always, will be the three of us will be on DraftKings. Ryan will be on FanDuel because old habits die hard. Um, so super producer Josh, come on in. Who's your quarterback this week? Okay.
We were actually thinking about doing that in our super flex last night when we were putting together, but didn't work.
Waleed, who's your quarterback?
Um, Truth be told, my favorite quarterback of the week is unfortunately the most expensive one on DK. I love Jaden Daniels at 7,000.
Okay.
Okay.
Ryan?
Guys, I want to be able to afford some better players at other positions. So I think I know who Tony's going to take. So I'm going to pivot and I'm going to go with Drake May because he's cheap.
Oh,
And he should have to pass if they're constantly playing down.
He
And
was the
they're going
guy
to
I
have to
was looking
pass.
at.
And they're going to have to pass too if they want to keep a lead in this game because if you want to beat Miami, you're going to just have to slay points. So
yep. All right. My quarterback play of the week is Anthony Richardson.
that's what I
Got
thought.
weak winning potential. All right, Josh, your running back.
Josh?
Josh. Josh, my boy. Okay. Wow, flexing on him.
Okay.
Waleed, your running back.
I like Kareem Hunt at 5,700 yards. I think it's a really good matchup for him.
Okay, Ryan.
Um, you know what? I'm gonna go B Rob. I'm gonna go B Rob this week.
Okay. I feel like it's a wide receiver week, so I'm also trying to go kind of mid tier. So I took Bucky Irving as my running back play this week.
Okay.
Josh, your wide receiver. Oh,
What? Really? Okay. Is Ridley out? Okay.
Waleed, I think Josh fell in the well. Do you think you can get over there sooner than
I'm
later?
I'm I'm very concerned about him right now. I'm going to be honest.
Waleed's getting his shoes on as we speak.
This
He's
is
heading over.
this is dangerous ground that he's on.
Waleed's your receiver play of the week.
My receiver play of the week is very simply Nico Collins at 7,600.
Okay.
Let's
Okay.
go.
All right. Ryan, your receiver play of the week.
I'm going Marv. Let's do Marvin Harrison. I have to. He's my top five and my millionaire.
I will be going with DK Metcalf because he's a little cheaper. I'm trying to do like, because FanDuel, they have Sunday Night Football in the Millie now. I'm going to
Yeah.
do whatever I can to get a DK, AJ Brown, Nico Collins lineup. I'll do disgusting things. Um, all right. So, Josh, your tight end of the week. Of the week. Of the week.
The week.
Nice. Yeah. No,
Okay.
no mercy until the Super Bowl. I mean,
And then when they lose. Anyways, Waleed, your tight end.
So I told you I like this guy to pay down for. I'm going Theo Johnson at 2,900.
okay.
Okay. Ryan.
Yeah, like we said, there's a lot of good plays that are mid to expensive at positions this week. So you're gonna have to pay down at tight end, I think. Laporta is a good call by Josh because he's never gonna be this cheap. He's at 5,800
Right.
on FanDuel, and usually he's above 6,000. He's usually like a top six, and he is number 11 or 12 right now.
Okay.
Um, so I'm going with Hunter Henry because he's my mid-tier kind of shitty tight end of the week at 5,200. Should afford you some decent money at other positions.
Okay. My tight end of the week, Josh, is also Sam Laporta. So putting down your vibes. So Josh, your defense streamer of the week. Oh.
Interesting.
Okay. 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 sure. We have a question in the chat. It is simply Shoemaker from T Bills 15. Uh, if I can avoid him, yeah, Ferguson is out, but uh, Cooper
You're
Rush, man.
talking about you're talking about playing someone from the Dallas offense. Just remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't do it in good conscience.
I
conscience.
mean,
I
like,
mean,
I want to, like,
dude,
because when we were in
you're
Dallas, I was
you're
looking at, like, oh, sorry, you go, Ryan.
I was gonna say you're talking to someone who loves second, third string tight ends. Like I love seeing those, but it's only when they're on good teams, guys. And
Yeah.
Dallas is in shambles right now.
Yeah.
So you can take your chances. He might get a few catches, but I don't think it's gonna translate into anything special.
Yeah,
Sure.
like Rico Dowdle, like actually had one of the best matchups of the week for me, and you didn't hear me mention his name yet today. When we were covering that game, because I'm not touching any Cowboys. I
Right.
can't.
All right. So then, Waleed, who's your defensive streamer this week?
So I paid up in other spots, so I need to go cheap here. I went like not the cheapest, but the Bears on DK are 2,500. That's really cheap. And Sam Darnold is always a guy who can have like 5 turnovers in a game. Like that is in his range of outcomes. So paying down, I'm hoping the Bears defense at least can make it competitive. We talked about it. The line on that game is 39.5, which implies a low scoring game. So
Yeah,
that
that's
should at
true.
least give me a decent built-in floor for that defense. They were also one of my defenses. They were my third defense in my defensive streamer article. I think they're a solid play this week. If you need to play it safe.
Okay.
I love the Bears too. It's why I also hate the Bears.
Ryan, your defensive streamer this week.
Mine's in the middle. I'm gonna go Houston defense against Tennessee.
Ooh, I like it. I
Okay.
love any
They've been
defenses
they've
playing
been
Will Levis.
they've been sneaky good, even though they've been playing some shitty teams the last few weeks, but
Sneaky
they've been
good. They
pretty
were the
good.
number one defense in football last week, which I also told you to start them last week in a DFS article.
Yeah,
And my defensive streamer of the week is a late addition, and it is the Green Bay Packers defense.
interesting.
I like it. I like it. With the rookie quarterback, you're probably getting what is the Green Bay's price actually? I'm kind of curious.
It's like
It's in the middle.
25, 24.
28. Okay, that's not bad. That's good value.
Pay up somewhere else.
Yep.
All right. So that's the show. Tomorrow, back here on the channel, you will get the start or sit show with Jeff Crisco and Evan Hoovler. Waleed has said he writes the defensive streamer articles that you can find on Football Absurdity every week. We're back
Also the
here on.
waiver wire.
Yep, we are taking this upcoming Thursday off for the holiday, but most Thursdays you can catch us live on here for Thursday Night Farceball. Ryan and I do a podcast called the TH Fantasy Podcast, and I think that's it, guys. Anything else? Win some money this week, damn it!
Oh yeah.
Good night,
Let's
everybody.
keep the hot streak going.
Good night.
11 and 4
Uh,
last week. 2 and 4 in parlays.
There we go.